everybody, welcome to PlayLog, the podcast where you can watch a bunch of non-review written people talk about the games they're playing. And today I have two very special guests. First, I have the Red Lion himself, the Lion King, Dwarven
That is
Lion.
me. I am also known as Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, the Lion King himself.
Don't get me in trouble with that
I'm
shit.
doing good. I'm doing good.
Trouble.
Listen, I own 2 of his albums now. On
Okay. It's like owning the copyright.
Yeah, exactly. I basically own Childish Gambino's brand. I just realized I lost my hoodie string at some point.
Cancel the podcast. We need to find this out.
I'm doing good. I hope everybody else is doing good.
Absolutely. And of course, first time on PlayLog, finally gets to come out from the shadows after hearing us shit talk Halo Infinite's multiplayer. The man himself, Shuriblur. Dante, how you doing today?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing very well. And joke's on you, because you thought this was a PlayLog about Sifu, but it's actually a redemption arc for Halo Infinite's multiplayer.
Oh, sweet. I can just crap out. We can go back. We can go do whatever. Dante, I'll just full screen you. You just talk for an hour, all right?
Exactly. I got this. But I have come down from my mountain, my hiatus, and we'll probably go back into my hiatus after this, too.
There you go. Oh, man. But yes, how's everybody doing today? We will be talking about Sifu. So if you guys have seen, I've been streaming this game quite a bit on Twitch. We just finished it the other day. Big third-person action. I don't know what they officially, categorize this genre-wise. It's like a fighting game, action-adventure.
Action roguelite.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, it's got so many fucking tags to it that it's basically its own genre.
It's so
They're
hard now.
They're calling them Sifu likes.
Listen, I'll take more Sifu likes, dog. I'll take more Sifu likes. But yeah, so as your debut, Dante, I'd love to hear, what did you think of Sifu?
So the interesting thing is I watched you play it, I think the first day, Monday or whenever, Thursday. It was like maybe a day before it was officially released. Whatever.
Yeah, I think I played it. I streamed it the Monday because I forgot I got Deluxe Edition, which came 2 days early, and I had this whole plan of everyone, we're not streaming Monday, we're gonna stream on Tuesday so we can play Sifu day 1. I'm like, wait, I got it early. Stop, never mind. Schedule stays the same. Nothing changed.
Yeah, so I ended up watching you stream it, and I was like, okay, cool. This game's actually pretty dope. And then the funny thing is, you said it on your stream. You're like, Dante, you'll probably really like this game. It's kind of like got some fighting stuff to it. You're probably really big with it. And I was like, awesome, cool. I was watching you play it. I headed into the game, pre-ordered it, downloaded it the next day, went in with so much confidence. I was like, dog, I'm gonna rock this game. And I got through the slums? Not the slums.
The warehouse.
Yeah, the warehouse.
The shorts, the stunts, the.
I can tell you, I'm about to start up the level.
It starts with an S. It starts with an S.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
I keep calling it the slums.
Squats.
The squats.
Yeah. The squats. I went through that level, and I was like, okay. This game is a bit more difficult than I was anticipating. And then I got to the club and I got my butt rocked. I was like, oh shit, this game is not as easy as I thought it was gonna be. I thought Danny was actually struggling, and I was like, I'm going in with so much confidence because I got a little bit more of a leg up on him with a fighting game experience. Nah.
Dante wanted that oh, you're stuck in the club. Hey Danny, I just beat the final boss tonight. Keep up.
Yeah, but aside from the fact that I was getting my ass kicked, this game really surprised me. Because despite the fact that there was a pretty steep difficulty in terms of the learning curve.
Yeah.
And even still, I'm not, and we can get into this later probably, I don't think that the game necessarily tells you everything that it should. But despite the fact I was finding myself having a lot of fun, and even despite those difficulties, I was like, okay, what do I need to do? I went outside of the game to be like, okay, Danny, tell me how to do skill trees, because I'm fucking that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a blast with it. The game was surprising for what is considered to be, I don't know, it's like a $40 game for the regular.
I think so, yeah,
edition.
base edition 40. Yeah.
So considering I consider that to be kind of like a light type of game, it's not supposed to have a huge amount of content, and it doesn't really. But I would have paid $60 for this game.
Absolutely.
Like, I had a blast playing it.
Sweet. Kanai, what did you think of Sifu, or what do you currently think of Sifu?
Currently pausing Sifu to talk about how I feel about Sifu. So initially I watched you play this the day it came out for the pre-order of the deluxe, and I was like, wow, this looks a lot more fun. And you and Connor were kind of picking at it. We're like, voice acting's not great. Like the animations look clean. God, that's a recycled animation a lot. But then like watching it, I was like, this looks really fun to play. And it looks like it feels good to just beat the hell out of this group of men. I don't know. I don't really know what they are. I guess they're
ladies.
Syndicate. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, hench people.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if there's necessarily, and I'm sure there's some lore out there somewhere in some Sifu graphic novel desktop.
Oh, that'd be
note
dope.
Or something.
This would benefit greatly from a comic. But yeah, I'm sitting there like I pick it up and I'm playing it, and like I get to those first dudes, you hop the gate, and I'm just like, get out of my fucking way, you're trash, and just like beat them, throw them on the ground, pick them up, do the like triple punch on them. I'm like, yeah, this is great, this is amazing, love this game. And then I got to the hallway and I was like, what do I do against a group of people? They've just been coming at me one-on-one, and I think I cleared that pretty easy because there's a bunch of weapons. And then I got to the big guy, and the big guy, like I kept not dodging because I'm not good at dodging. I'm usually just really aggro in games like this. Even like when I played Bloodborne, just hyper aggressive. And I'm sitting there playing, and I'm like, man, I am getting fucked up. Like I need to do something different. And eventually I was like, oh, just block and like try to parry. And parrying is the only kind of blocking I would do. Yeah. And then I got like, I think you were in the call with me, but I finally beat the botanist at like age like 60 something.
Yep.
And I was like, this sucks. And I was like, this, holy fuck. So then I go to the club, and the club immediately just wrecks me. Like I beat the, I was like, punch everybody, because so far everybody's been aggressive. So the two guys out front that are like, if you're not on the list, you're not getting in. I was like, fuck you. And I just like one-shot them. And I was like, oh, wait, they probably weren't even guys. So then I get to the guy who's like, your name's not on the list, and like, fuck him up. And then like, I get through the door, and the bartender who you're supposed to talk with, I didn't know he had a dialogue option, so I just hopped the bar and threw him into the wall and beat his ass. And I was like, yeah, I'm a god at this game now. I beat the botanist. And I get into the room where all the bottles are and shit, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get wrecked. And I just got laid out, and I was like, I'm gonna beat the first level till I'm like 20. Yeah. And then I think I got to like 32 and retried the club, and like just certain parts of the club would wreck me. And I had a bit of frustration. And I think I told you, I was like, I don't like this game, man. It feels way too hard. There's like a big, I do this with games. You know it. Connor knows it. There's literally like the Kanai period is a thing that happens when I buy a game.
Kanai learning to play the game.
Yeah. When I'm learning to play the game, I'm like, this game sucks. And then an hour later, I'm just like, guys, I really like this game. And then like it always happens. But like, I think literally the next day I was like, okay, I've watched a lot of videos. I am not the only one struggling with this game. Mm-hmm. And you were like, no, by no means are you the only one. And like I started learning that it is a high skill jump from the squats to the club.
Yes.
And then it's like a plateau until you get to the bosses leading up to Sean, and then it jumps again. So I was like, okay, I just need to be more prepared. And then I've just been grinding out the first level. And let me tell you, I feel like a god in the first level now. I just run through these dudes. But I personally still haven't made it to Sean just because of how hard I've been grinding. Yeah. But it does feel good. And I want to say I've put like 20 hours into the game already just because I'm grinding out so much and trying to get used to like the dodging and blocking, like the differences between how each of them feel, how they affect the stance meters. So, like, I'm just really trying to, like, get into the nitty-gritty of the game. And when you get down to it, it has so many fun mechanics. And I do really enjoy it. And, like, at first, everybody was like, Game of the Year. And I'm like, fuck that. You don't actually think that. You're getting... Then, like, when I started liking the game, I was like, no, they're right. It's really good.
It's up there, man. It's a contender,
it's good.
Dog.
And that's the thing is, like, I think you and I talked about this last year. If this is where the year starts, I cannot wait to see where it goes, because I think I said this is going to be one of the best years in gaming since 2018.
Yes.
And this is looking bright. Yeah, I'm super excited for it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to get to talking about the club in more detail, because I feel like that's there's so much we can talk about with the club. But yeah, I remember this game getting announced at the PS5. It was either the reveal event or like the price reveal event, one or the other. But I was like, yo, this looks dope. And it's from Slowclap, the same guys who made Absolver, which I don't know if you guys played much Absolver.
I played Absolver for like 2 whole days.
I played like maybe 10 minutes of Absolver. I didn't play very much.
I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
would probably love Absolver.
Well, who published that? Because the funny thing was, like,
publisher,
Devolver, wasn't it?
It was
Devolver, yeah.
Devolver Digital, right?
I think.
I don't know. Part of me was just amused that Devolver was making a game called Absolver.
Yeah, so it just rhymed.
And that was my highlight for that game.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
So I played that game and I was like, this game is really cool graphically. Like the fighting style feels fluid. This is what I wanted from For Honor. Like the blockings feel right. The game and like combat is fluid, and I loved it. And then I would run into a guy who was like 30 levels above me, and he would just beat my shit in. And then I'd come back to like, I was like, all right, bitch, time for revenge. I got that power up because I died. Let's go. Because I'm pretty sure there's a mechanic where you deal more damage to people who have killed you before in Absolver, I think.
Okay.
I don't actually remember.
I thought you were about to say Sifu. I'm like, sorry, what?
No, I wish.
This whole
no,
thing?
I wish. But yeah, no, like I think I could 100% be wrong, and I'm sure I'll see it in the comments if I am wrong. But like I remember always coming back and doing better after I got killed by somebody. And then there were people who would like they would be like, "Fuck you, you got lucky," and I was like, who cares? You just beat my ass." Like, but yeah, Absolver had like sweet combat styles. You could choose from like 3 different fighting styles out the gate. The masks were really cool. And like when you told me that this was made by the guys who made Absolver, I was like, oh, I actually really liked Absolver. I never beat it. I like got a distance into it, and I was like, this is getting a little too hard. I think I'm done with it. But yeah, I played it a nice chunk, like 2 days or so.
Okay. Yeah, when I saw it was from the same guys who made Absolver, and I was kind of like, okay, I know people like this game. It's not like it's the biggest, like, everybody's played Absolver. I know it was free on PS Plus at one point, so a good few casuals have like gotten their hands on it, but, you know, it's not a big name household title for anybody. But Sifu looked like it had more of a narrative to it, and there was like, oh, there's characters to fall in love with, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna enjoy this. So the moment that went up on the PS5, you know, I got the deluxe edition. I have the PS4 and PS5 version sitting on my console. And yeah, you, me, and Connor in that call that first day it dropped. I'm like, I wanted to wait till Monday, but dog, if I start the PS4 version, it's like, you know, I could just start the PS5 one on stream, so we're all good. And, you know, I'm figuring out these combos, and me with fighting games is usually not a great combination. I find like, here's my spam move on my one character, and that's all I play. And then when someone's like, how do I counter that for Danny? And I'm like, okay, fighting games aren't fun anymore. I don't like this. I can't have fun anymore. But
what are you talking about? I'm the mayor.
Yeah, okay. Well, that Smash isn't a fighting game. I'm not going to even start that. No, listen, I am the mayor. That is true. And, you know, Smash is a whole different beast. But in terms of things like Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you know, traditional fighting games.
Dante's Collection.
Dante
I am wearing a Skullgirl shirt.
But yeah, usually like the combo systems for fighting games is something that doesn't really not necessarily doesn't appeal to me, but like I end up not sticking with it because I'm like, I remember there was up down B. No, never mind. I forget what that move was. Where Sifu was like, all right, this is all dependent on me. I'm not like getting squashed by the guy on the couch next to me. That's so much better. I'm getting squashed by a stupid NPC that got a lucky punch. I'm like, God damn it. Okay. Shouldn't let that happen when we're good. And I did very similar to you. So streamed the first night. I got through the botanist at like age 55 or something like that.
Yeah.
One of the clubs got smashed. I think I got to Sean at like 60 some years old, and then just died almost instantly. So
doing that hallway scene right there.
Yeah. Those few days in between like our Monday stream to Wednesday stream, I was grinding out the first level. Like the first level, if I died, I was just not paying attention. I shouldn't be dying in the squats anymore. Like it's so easy. And I would grind through, and then there's permanent upgrades, which I think, Dante, this might have been the one thing we're talking about, whether it was on stream or through DMs.
It was on stream.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, Danny, I'm getting my ass kicked in the club.
What do? I was like, here's what I did. I grinded out, so I would go through the first level. So you earn XP as you continue fight. You earn. I'm trying to think. So there's a multiplier you get, which gets you XP, and then there's like an additional XP like currency, whatever the red one is.
That's that's level score.
Yeah,
which
that's
mainly
right.
I think headed towards the Jade statue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
I'm
use
not sure
those.
if that was directly related to XP, but
Yeah, I think it's more your performance, because you can go in, you can taunt someone, which will give you a multiplier right out of the gate. So the more you're beating people up and not taking hits, you're getting more of this level score, which once you find a Jade statue, you can upgrade. But either when you get to a Jade statue or when you die, you can upgrade your moves. So out of the gate, you have like maybe 3 or 4 different combos you can do. And each level you can unlock a move. So you're like, okay, I like this leg sweep, which is, congruent on your focus meter. And then if you unlock it and die, you lose it. But if you permanently unlock it, which is buying the thing essentially 6 times, you have it forever. So I was like, sweet, that's what I need to do. So I ran through the botanist as much as I could. I'm like, all right, cool. I bought this ability 5 times. I own it. And then I would run into the club, die, upgrade. All right, I unlocked the second one. Died, start over with the botanist, did it again until I had like at least 50% of the abilities at that point. So then as I was going through the club, finally beating it, going through the museum, going through the tower, and then finally the sanctuary, I got to the CEO, I think, with all the abilities permanently unlocked. Which made the game, I won't say easier, but I was like, I have more options and more capabilities than I think a normal person with any kind of skill in fighting games would have. So yeah, I definitely grinded out early to make it a little more functional for myself. But yeah, I really enjoyed having those functions and having those different abilities, because eventually my brain clicked into the point of, okay, that bullet time moment of I see the fist is coming at me from behind. So if I duck, dodge, punch him, turn around, sweep his feet, punch, stand up, throw the guy behind me, I'm like, okay, this is gonna work. And then executing that combo, I'm like, I fucking did it. Yeah, man, that felt good.
I'm currently getting my ass beat.
And you're on the club?
Nope.
No? Oh, you're on the squads?
Yep.
Okay.
It's that first like not hallway group fight where it's like out the windows.
Okay.
And that first guy recovers from the execution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I always forget how much of a difficulty leap that is.
Yeah. So that's one of the rooms that I struggle with a lot at first. It's great that we're just like talking like actively. Can I play?
Yeah.
Whenever you go through that hallway, there's 2 doors to the side. If you clear out both those rooms first, there's only like 4 guys in the patio. So and it's one of those. It's so weird because I feel like roguelite fits this game. I think you call it a roguelite, but also like it's so different from a traditional roguelike or roguelite that it's almost
the
like
soul games of roguelites.
There it is.
Kinda.
I did it. I said the thing.
Rogue Souls.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of Souls, because you had a conversation with a mutual of ours the other day, and it was like, Danny likes Sifu, but he hates Dark Souls, And I was like, yeah. And then I had someone in chat come in like, what do you mean this is totally a Souls game? And I'm like, no, it's not. I understand why you would argue that it is, but I was like, my big thing with Dark Souls is the brutal punishment of you died, and depending what checkpoints you've made, start the whole damn game over and whole level over again. With my experience with Demon Souls, getting so close to the end and then spawning by that like decrepit fountain over and over again. I'm like, this isn't fun. I don't like this. Whereas Sifu is a lot more of, you died right here, but you're literally about to revive somewhere between 1 and 8 years older than you were. So maybe you're at a disadvantage, but at least you're not starting over to have to grind through, and now you're stressed out and now you're losing it. Shoot, I died to that guy in the first room I shouldn't have died to,
Is 8 as high as it goes?
I think the highest I've ever gotten is 7, but usually once you hit 7, you're going up.
Yeah, you're going up a lot.
That's like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like 24 years.
Because of that, like, I almost feel like the game in certain aspects is actually more difficult than a Souls game. Because if you start to die rapidly, that snowballs real quick.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One of my initial complaints was that your health decreases, but your power increases, and I'm like, that's not what I need to get better. I need to live longer. Mm-hmm. But then once I started getting the hang of it, and I was like, people do die a lot faster. It's just ow. It's just people. Sorry. People just need to like take more damage faster for me to succeed a little bit faster.
Right.
But then it's also a little weird because then you get used to being stronger, but not as like combo reliant, you know? Because you can kill them half the time before your combo even finishes when your power is increased.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching the character age, even though I'm like, technically I'm doing really bad at this, but
right. Yeah, seeing his like or I guess you played the female on stream. Yeah.
Yeah. See little old lady with the gray like bun in the back. I was like, yeah.
Tony made fun of her.
Yeah.
As I was aging, Tony was like, "Why are you wearing like 4 different hairstyles?"
I'm getting old, Tony. Stop.
I was like, I'm getting more hair. I'm not having time to go like trim it or anything. Like I gotta do what I gotta do.
And I tie it up.
You gotta tie it up.
No, and it's really fun seeing those cutscenes. You know, like when I beat the botanist being level like or age 50, right? Like old Danny beat this botanist finally. And then I started to run back, and I'm like, I'm beating the botanist without dying, and I'm seeing young. I don't think our character has a name. I don't know if we.
I think people just call him Sifu.
Yeah, which I think is technically incorrect. It's like calling Frankenstein Frankenstein's monster kind of thing, but.
It's like calling Samus Metroid.
Right.
or Link Zelda.
Yeah. But yeah, watching our character, like, I'm beating the botanist without having aged a day, you know, and then getting to Sean, and yeah, I've died like 2 or 3 times, but like, I'm still stage 1, you know, main character, which I'm like, sweet, I'm making progress. To then get to the museum, I'm like, okay, this fight isn't as brutal as Sean. And maybe this is a great place to talk about the club. I think the club may just be displaced in terms of like the progression, because when you go through the squats, you get to the club, which I think most people outside the Sanctuary final boss, I think is where a lot of people struggle and like, I don't know if I can beat this game. And I feel like and I know it kind of messes with the continuity and the like upgrade of, I guess I'll say privilege or prestige as you continue to see like the squats, the club, and then you have the museum and they're getting more elegant. It would kind of take a dip, but at the same time, like Sean, like leading up, even Sean himself, I don't think it's too difficult. And I don't know if you guys, I know, you say you haven't fought him yet? So Dante,
I still haven't even fought him.
Once I learned what he was doing, he's super easy.
Absolutely. Like after I got through, like beat him twice, I'm like, oh, he has like 2 combos. It's duck, 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 or like dodge to the left rapidly, and you're good.
Yeah. It's not like the first phase of Kiriko, who I still can't figure out for the life of me.
I had to look up a guide, and I'm like, okay, I know these combos, and I just can never read which combo's coming my way. They're brutal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like leading up to Sean for the club, there's like 5 mini bosses scattered throughout. There's like dude chilling on the bench. You got the chick with the staff. You got I keep calling them the twins. I don't brother and sister right before the final boss.
The trials.
You have the actual trials. So speaking of the trials, there's like a room you go in where people are like stretching and training.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight them.
Yep. I found that out.
Did you just run in there and punch someone?
I did. Yep. Because I found out early. Okay. So can I mention this earlier? Like running in, beating up the guy at the club. Like the first level kind of sets you up to believe that everybody here is out to kill you. Yeah. So you want to beat up everybody. Because I don't think there's an encounter like that in the squats of someone to stop and talk to.
So the answers that you can give people are color coded, and the blue one is like the good answer. That's like the passive, like I don't want to do this. But even when you pick that, the people still start the fight with you. They're like, well, too bad. Like Fajar's lost his mind. Like, go away.
Yeah. And then when you get to the club, I also beat the snot out of the guy at the front, like the front desk. But I'd run in. I'm like, he actually doesn't fight, so I just get free. I don't actually know if you earn health if you do the takedowns of them or not. I assume you do.
If you can at least do a takedown, you can get health.
Yeah.
You'll maybe feel bad, but you'll still get health.
I didn't feel bad the first 3 times when I beat the dudes up in the alley because I'm like, they're here in front of me, they gotta die.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I really have to just beat up the bouncer. The other 2 are not here to hurt me, but I can still hit them.
Did you get to the extra room in the club with the guy, the techie?
Yes.
And he's like, he just turns around. Is like, what the? Did you punch him?
I did because the dialogue option shows up so much later. So I found out for him, there's a collectible for the board in the tower. you have to get into the CEO's computer. But to get that, you have to talk to the guy on the soundstage. He gives you a device. So when you get back to the tower, you plug in that device and you get something for the detective board.
Yeah, it's really weird because you don't get that option until you get to the detective board area, in the tower. So it's very awkward that you just walk into that room and it's just like you have a dialogue option and then it's like,
okay, what are you here for? Where's Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time that I ran into that room, though, I just them. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There wasn't even a second thought. Like,
again, it was warm bodies, like they're here to die, you know? And then
if they were alive and talking at me, I was like, oh, this guy has to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like eventually we got to points of like, okay, sticking with the club. Like you run into this room. I beat up the bouncer. I run in. I'm like, I know my immediate process. I turn to the left, beat up the first guy, pin him down, bop, bop, he's dead. Stand up, grab the pipe, knock this guy out, KO, beat up the guy at the front desk. And while I still have this almost broken pipe, run into the main dance floor, and there's like a guy and a girl talking immediately to the right. If you run in and swing the pipe at the guy, the backswing also hits the girl. So you just get two takedowns right out of the gate. Yeah. So me, like, that's the combo. And then I get them, turn around, hit this guy with the bottle. Boom, you're done. So it becomes this just like muscle memory of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I don't know necessarily there's one path, but I found like my golden path of, if I beat this and I beat this and I do this, I only have to deal with these two people. Or like the ones that I'm like, I know this guy, if I go to kill him, he's going to like counter and then buff or power up or whatever. I don't know if Sifu gives an official title for what they do. But when you go to take someone down and they're like, nope, sorry, I'm still fighting. And then they come back stronger with full health.
Yeah, that seems to be a random thing. That never seemed to, at least from what I could tell, I never had a way of telling when that was going to happen. It just kind of happened. What
I've seen, it looks like there's certain characters that'll definitely do it. And if you take them out, every now and again, it'll pass to somebody else. So like once you clear the dance floor and you go into the left, there's a guy and a girl that rush out. That guy always does that like revive health thing. So I never use the takedown on him because I know he's going to come back. Sometimes, like once you go in that room more, there's like 4 people that'll rush you. There's a guy there, I think in like a black tank top. He will usually do it as well. So I stopped taking him down because I know he'll also do the full charge. And again, it may have just been absolute luck that it keeps happening to me, but I'm like, I know not to take you down. I know not to take you down. So I'll just beat you up normally. And I won't get any health from you, but at least I can defeat you and get some XP, I suppose. Man, this is fun.
The club is pretty much is a pretty steep difficulty jump, I think. I'm not sure if putting any of the other levels before that though would have really helped.
You don't think?
Like I had a similar situation in the museum.
Okay.
With the rain area. And I had like 2 of the kickers and 1 big guy.
Yes, that was pretty tough.
I kept getting wrecked there. Like there was a point where I kept going back and I got good with the club, and then I went into the museum around like age 26 or so. Yeah. And I would get to that rainfall area in the museum, and I would jump up like 20 ages.
Wow.
I mean, I almost said 20 levels.
I've been saying levels the whole time. I've been saying levels the whole time, dog.
But just because like that area in particular was just so rough for me, because like as soon as I start to like combo one of the kickers, one of the girls, like the guy would come in and grab me, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of a combo. Like I can't, like this game doesn't have an instance of you can immediately act out of anything.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I entered this game in initially, I was kind of playing it almost like an Arkham game. So no matter like what you're doing, as long as you hit the counter button when they have their flashes going on, you'll interrupt whatever you're doing. This game's not like that, and that's how I was initially playing it. You have to play this game a little bit more passive,
like a fighting game. Like you're being punished for certain actions because you did it at the wrong time.
Yeah, and then there's also just certain situations where you're just like you don't want to be there. Like I'm not sure if it's coded this way, but there's certain instances where an enemy, like two enemies, will attack you almost at the same time.
Yeah.
And I found in those situations, like I'm just gonna completely like duck out of there.
Yeah.
And try to just solo up with one of these guys because I can't.
Yeah.
It gets down to a situation, especially like with the bigger enemies, where like you can't take two of them on at once, or at least it felt like that to me. So.
Yeah, so like on the club when you walk through,
always the
like
club.
The club has the most like, yeah, that's a good example because I think the club, as difficult as it is, does kind of encompass like all the different types of enemies that you're going to come up against in different rooms. Yeah, in the club there's like one like little strip where it's a bunch of lounge chairs that looks over the dance floor, and at the end of the hall are two big dudes, and they'll come at you. And I'd find the combo of like take everybody out with my fists, and then I'm like I have like 4 wine bottles, I have like 6 like stools that I can kick at them. There's like little like the Japanese covers, the little folding walls. Yeah, the screens. If you break those, you get a bamboo staff, so you can start beating the shit out of them. But yeah, dealing with one where I'm like bop bop, and I go for the takedown, and then I see homie just like, I'm like, please don't pick me up, please don't pick me up. And then like homie slams me down. I'm like, all right, my health is like 75% gone. I need to back up. Yeah, it can be tough dealing with 2 at the same time because you can have one like absolutely ready to go down, and then when homie runs in, jumps off the wall, and kicks your teeth down your throat, you're like, well, there went my combo. That was nice.
Yeah, I don't know personally what I would have put in front of the museum or the club. If anything, maybe just tone down the club.
Sure.
But like each level kind of added like a new character that you had to deal with. So in the club you had the buffer, like more trained martial artists. Well, actually there's 2 of them because you also had the kickboxers, like the girl that flips off the dance the turntable. I was like, damn.
So
mommy.
So that lady is consistently the easiest for me to deal with in this entire game, and I don't know why. That was the only lady I could always counter, and I could always break her stance meter and then immediately finish her. And I don't know what it was, but like I don't know if it's just the way she runs at me, but like she would always do that kick first, right? She would always run up and like do the like jump and like axe kick, and I would always perfect parry, punch, push back, run up, heavy hit, and then finish. And I was like, was that a mini boss? And then like I see the Jade statue, and I was like, that had to be like a mini boss. Yeah. Why was that so easy? And then like I'd move into the next room, and they're like, what the fuck happened in here? And I'm like, oh no, 6 more people.
Yeah, I struggled with her a lot the first night, and I think primarily because when it happened, I was playing this game as Elmo. And just like, Emma's trying to fight the lady. Oh shoot, dang it, Emma's dying. And honestly,
hit him with the bing bing.
Bing bing. No, absolutely. I love doing Elmo on stream. It's great, but at the end of the day, being like focused on actually competitively being good at a game, I'm like, man, I can't focus right now. Shooting a machine in Horizon was so difficult on Monday. Being like, right, I have to stay in character, but I would like to do good too.
This game's got to be a lot harder if you're also entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sifu speedruns, baby.
I did just beat like the Skull Tattoo twins, and I'm still level 20 or
Okay.
age 20, so I'm feeling pretty good about this botanist rune.
He's got it.
Well, they I'm not sure if you guys have been keeping up with like the updates for the game or whatever, but apparently they toned down the club.
Oh, really?
They already did.
Since we're still on the club.
Okay.
Yeah, they apparently toned it down. I know specifically, I think they nerfed Sean, which I'm not sure if that was needed. Oh no, it's Sobble.
I saw something. I was like, was it a cat? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I know the club has been toned down a hair.
Interesting.
From what I know with updates.
Yeah, I remember them saying they were adding, like, I think the same way Metroid did, like a super hard mode and a super easy mode. I don't think that's come out
yet.
Which
I think is smart.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can still go for the platinum there, if I can get this beat the game under 25 years old, dog, I'm gonna use that shit, dog. Because I've been struggling. I'm like, let me just run the tower again because I left here at 26. If I can beat it at 25, I could just not die to the final boss and I can get the trophy. I'm like, this expectation is not good, Danny. We're not gonna get this.
So I'm curious how you guys did this. Did you guys take moves based on how cool they looked, or did you take them based on like how useful you thought they'd be?
I did useful.
Right. Out of the gate, I went for useful.
Like, at least when I started to unlock things permanently, like when I first started unlocking things, I was like, okay, this seems like it's going to be better for me.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think the first thing I permanently unlocked was the like environment master.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what I did. That's what I did the first playthrough, and then I was like, oh, I just got a trophy. Sorry.
Nice.
So that's what I did my first playthrough. Is I went for that environmental master, and the big guy, I just bullied him because he has all those money bags. You can just kick at him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't actually need to dodge. I just kick a bag every time he gets to grab me, and then that fucked me up for the botanist. I was like, where's the stuff I can kick at him? And there was like nothing. So I was like, fuck, I picked the wrong upgrade. So I went back and I did the like claw strike or whatever, and I was like, that looks so good because I can dodge and then hit, and that's amazing. And then I was like, I picked this because it looked cool. God damn it, this isn't that useful. So it's
so short ranged.
It is. Do you do the heavy kick or do you do like the triple punch thing? Because the heavy kick has a very short range. The triple punch, you like flow to them and like bop bop bop, and it like wreaks havoc on their structure meter. So
yeah, I'm
like,
not sure. I was talking specifically about like the claw strike.
Yeah.
So when you actually hit them with the like turnaround, that is a really short range. They have to be like in the middle of punching you in the face.
Yeah.
And it'll like interrupt them, and depending on their range after you turn around, there's either the kick or there is like the triple claw. And if you triple claw and they're guarding, their structure meter goes like boop, 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 and it like fills up real fast. So sometimes when they're guarding, I'm like, I'm going to triple claw and break their structure real quick. So like, I like that there are moments where I'm like, this is the wrong upgrade. And then I found the instance to use it. And the reason I was asking is because right there, I triple clawed on accident like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, this is the wrong time. And then I triple kicked and I spin kicked and it hit like 3 people. And I was like, yes, wait, this is the right upgrade, right time. But yeah, it's crazy how like things that seem really bad, you almost find a place in combat for them later on when you have other things and like different situations with enemies.
Yeah, there's like, I could probably pick apart the game, and I don't mean to sound negative on it because I really like the game. I kind of wish that the upgrading path would have been explained maybe a little bit to me more.
Sure.
Yeah.
At first I didn't realize that some upgrades were blocked by the age.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm not sure, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just something I missed in the UI or but like,
Well, you know, age can take a
once
long time. And something that also takes a long time is me forgetting to do an ad break. So here's a word from our sponsors real quick. This episode of PlayLog is brought to you by shop.spreadshirt.com/CGDannyB. Have you been looking for the perfect piece of fabric to cover your body that also features your favorite part-time content creator? Then look no further because we've got just what you're looking for. Head on over to shop.spreadshirt.com/CGDannyB and pick up something nice for a loved one or maybe even yourself. Not looking for a shirt this season? No sweat. Spreadshirt features a large variety of products, including hoodies, mugs, cinch bags, baseball caps, pins, and more. Choose between a variety of designs featuring the CGDannyB Gnome logo, the CGDannyB Overwatch logo, or our most recent release, the I'm the Mayor design. Be sure to grab your favorite piece of merch and stay warm and comfortable this season. But keep an eye out because more designs are on the way and you're not going to miss out on these new products. So log on to shop.spreadshirt.com/CGDannyB and grab some merch. Again, that's shop.spreadshirt.com/CGDannyB. All right, here we go. Anyway, we're talking about getting old, right?
getting old. It sucks, man.
Yeah. No, you're saying, yeah, like abilities are locked out from like once you're a certain age, like you can't upgrade something anymore.
Yeah, and I don't think I figured that out until like after I was past that age. So like I really wish I would have had something in the UI that says this is locked by this age. Like I know the Jade statue has the age above it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the skills do specifically. And
not that I noticed anyway.
The skills shouldn't have age restrictions.
Yeah, I think those are all just based on whether you choose to permanently unlock or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I started and I saw those numbers above, I don't know why it didn't compute with me. That's what they meant. Like when you're 25, you can't upgrade like your not your weapon proficiency, weapon
Your
durability.
weapon durability.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I guess saying it out loud again sounds weird. And I'm like, you're over 25. Nah, your bat's weak, dog. Your bat's weak.
So that is the weird one. I feel like 25 should be the stance meter,
right?
Or the structure meter.
I agree,
because like that feels right. The weapons, like you'd probably be good at them no matter what age.
Yeah, if I'm 20 or 70, if I'm swinging a bat, that bat's gonna hit somebody hard, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's 25. It's 25 for the weapons. It's
weapon
40
for takedown health.
Yeah, and then
takedown
60?
health regain, 60 for structure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't know how much that impacted you guys choosing your upgrades. I ended up kind of like once I started going back and like, finishing levels at a better age. I kind of still had the free will. Like once getting into the museum, I could still upgrade whatever I wanted. I ended up sticking with once I got to Sean or like towards Sean with all the mini bosses. I'm like, all right, I'm going to stick with structure because I need a little more structure so I'm not getting my ass beat every time I go in. But after that, I think I ended up locking with the dodging increases focus and structure, so I would kept jumping back and forth between those two.
I ended up sticking to most of the upgrades that dealt with this level score. And then I think I might have did the like during the squats I did the weapon durability upgrade just because I could, because I was like so young. I was just like, I might as well just knock these out of the way right now.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to go back to them because I'm gonna fuck up later.
Yeah.
But I ended up doing the dodges just because I was like, that helped with maintaining your structure low. And then the one thing like that I didn't like about that particular system with the Jade statue is because all of your XP that you're doing deals with like the skills that you want. I almost feel like unless I have a skill completely unlocked, I would never go to the XP version, whatever is available on the Jade statue.
Yeah.
So I think I had the increased focus bar, which sounds really important to me personally.
Yeah.
Until a later fight, which I'm not, I'm not sure if are we gonna talk. So how much shit can we get into?
So I think at this point, I think we can put up the spoiler thing. To be fair, I feel like spoilers in this game really don't. Yeah, they do exist, but they don't. I know, you've watched the whole game.
It's
a revenge story.
You're not playing story. You're not playing Sifu for the story. You're playing Sifu for the awesome kung fu feel. Like that's what you're playing it for. You're playing it to feel like you're in a Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah, the only true spoiler I think is knowing that there's a true ending and a bad ending. Yeah. And depending which one you go, obviously, I think if you played any kind of games and have multiple endings, one's good, one's bad.
Right.
So I think in terms of spoilers, I think the three of us are good. So here's your warning if you're watching.
Speed run of this game. Yeah, I've watched a speed run of this game, so like I know what happens.
Yeah,
but you're good to talk about.
You can't focus on the last fight.
Bro,
you don't need to unlock focus
so pissed. I was so angry because some of the focus abilities I have to go back and do another run because there's a trophy to do all the focus abilities once, and some require 3 bars, which I've never upgraded fully, so I've only done the 1 and 2s. But yeah, I had like 2 bars when I got to the final boss. I'm like, you bitch, I'm about to beat your ass. And then when I went to focus, I'm like, is he too far? So I moved closer. I'm like, is he still too far? And then I finally read, I'm like, I can't use my focus. This is such a waste of an upgrade. Oh, I was so pissed.
I got really pissed at that. Like,
did you beat him? Did you beat it, Dante? The Sanctuary?
Yeah, I beat the game. I beat Sanctuary, and eventually I'm gonna work on the other parts of it too.
Yeah.
But because I haven't completely 100% of the game.
Right.
But I think the focus bar upgrade being connected to XP is a little weird. Because I wanted to save my XP for new skills. And obviously I can't unlock any of the higher focus bar stuff without unlocking the skill.
Yeah.
But I will say it is admittedly pretty cheap, I think. But the fact that like I can't, like you can only buy 1 upgrade per Jade statue anyway. Like that kind of makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
The other one I think was a weapon attack on structure, something like that, for like 500 XP.
Yes, 500 XP. Yep.
which I never really bothered too much with because I feel like weapons already do a decent amount of structural damage
Yeah.
anyway.
So
I
I'm using
upgraded
it right
once.
now because the botanist you get weapons in part 2.
Yeah.
So I'm using it right now to help me get through stage 1 at age 20.
Okay.
But once you beat stage 1 at age 20, the only real use you have for weapon damage is when you're running through Sean, because there's a lot of weapons in the club.
Yes.
And if you can throw a bottle and immediately get an execute, you might as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then after
But
that,
right
I don't
now-
think too many. I mean, you can use them for. They're nice to have, at least.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone
Yeah,
into
yeah.
each boss making sure I can bring in a weapon, but I don't think. I think once you get into Sean and beat him, I don't think melee weapons are essential for any of the bosses. Definitely
Yeah.
helpful, but.
No,
I don't think
they're
essential.
helpful, but not necessary.
Yeah.
And then the last one was to reset the death counter, which I think is probably one of the better XP rewards, even though I never personally
Right.
was to use it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with all the XP purchases from the Jade statue.
Mhm.
But
I wish-
I get the general idea. I guess the idea is that these are things that aren't necessary at all to play the game.
Sure.
So when I saw them, I didn't think it took your XP. Like, I didn't think you actually spent XP to get it. I just noticed it when I did my final upgrade for the weapon structure damage. I was like, oh, it just requires me to have 500 XP. That's easy.
Yeah.
And then it took my XP, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that's big that it takes my Jade statue upgrade and 500 XP. That's a lot.
I think once I got to the point that I was at where I ran through and I was like, Jade statues or whatever, I'm going to be on these 2 levels for like the next year doing all this grinding. Once I upgraded all my permanents, like the XP really just came down. It's only going to the Jade statues. It didn't matter what else it went to. So I became less concerned with it. The first couple runs, I don't know. I guess I just kind of mindlessly, like, I know what I need to upgrade for the next boss, and I'm just like, whether I can afford it or not, as much as the, oh no, I'm spending this for this. I wish I was spending this for this instead. I guess I just kind of turn off that switch where I don't think it necessarily affects me. But I could definitely see, like, man, I wish I was spending this on that. It'd be I can earn this a lot easier than that. And, yeah, I never really thought about what currency went where. I'm just like, this is what they made me pay. Sounds good.
I have all the abilities already, so it doesn't matter.
Just doing my thing. But yeah, off of the club with going through the museum and the tower, I felt both were like, for me, it's like significantly easier than the process of the club, because I think a lot of it, and maybe it's because I had all these perks now, was running in. I'm like, nice jaw, wha-bam, takedown, wha-bam, takedown, like on repeat. The tower, even, I think the tower is one of the easiest levels. There's a few like group fights that get pretty like intense. Like there's one room with like 4 like big suit and tie people are like, did you interrupt our meeting? I'm gonna break you. And like that's one of the toughest fights until you get to the actual boss, which once you learn her combos, it's like duck, duck, jump, run in and punch. Like the CEO, her thing is she has so much range, but she is so frail. Like if you can get past her combos, she's done. It's over.
Yeah.
And then stage 2, she has the same combo. It's just that first swing has a grab. So if she hits you and pulls you in, she'll just like knock you for like half your health. But yeah, as long as you're dodging it, I think they're both really easy to deal with. Yeah. And then there's, the final fight, which I've come to the point of like, this isn't hard. It's just difficult, which I think sounds like it's one and the same thing. I can do it. I just so far have not been able to do it like without dying, or like at least dying like 5 or 6 times.
From what I've seen, he is just like a long fight. Like if you are guarding and blocking and dodging, or guarding and blocking, if you're guarding and dodging and like doing the like spot counter dodge thing, like as long as you're doing that stuff, he'll eventually leave openings, which is any boss in this game is just learning the pattern. His is just the most difficult because he's supposed to like represent the player character,
Yeah, he's got a lot of moves that he can actively use compared to everybody else who starts off with like a single thing, or most characters in the game too, even like the lackeys. They kind of just have like 1 or 2 things that they do, and once you learn those things, you're good. With Yang, he knows your entire moveset and makes you realize how bullshit your moveset is.
I was scared to death when he was using the same moveset. I'm like, I swear to God, if I kill this man on stage 2 and have to do it all over again because he just aged a year, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I know we talked. I talked about that briefly, like in the first time you were streaming. I was like, so is the boss just like does the boss just have your ability and you just got to keep beating their ass?
I'm like, I hope not, because he does like the intro cutscene. He like, and I don't quite understand the lore behind him when he's like, look at this bird. Just kidding. Like, and then just brings it back to life. I'm like, so what's the magic here? Do we get like a lesson on like, is it like we got a medicine, we got a drug? Are we just we're magic people? What's our?
I think a lot of that is kind of left up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Maybe rightfully so, because like the game's not super heavy.
Yeah, narratively.
It's not like the best story I've ever seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of like mystical stuff. Like pretty much all the bosses have some type of mystic power with them, and Yang's might have been medicine or healing or life or something to that degree. It's just not to himself. But yeah, he crushed a bird and brought it back to life.
Yeah,
and I think there's an optional.
Now I will crush you like a bird and not bring you back to life.
Exactly. There's an optional conversation in that stage.
Okay.
That some guy talks about, like, everybody who comes here leaves in a better shape than when they first entered.
Right.
Something of that nature. And I think that's.
Do you guys know anything about like the quote unquote true ending?
So I'm currently in the process of going through it. I don't know what the ending is, but
I got spoiled because I was looking up how to necessarily achieve it, like the intricacies, and like as I was Googling, that was like the bolded line was the ending. Yeah. I was like, thanks so much.
So without spoiling any of the story elements, I'm pretty sure trying to do the true ending on Yang, it makes a third stage.
Right, that's what I heard.
Yeah, so it's interesting how they did that, because it like almost punishes you. So you guys obviously know how to achieve it. For anybody who doesn't know,
because I wanted to move into the trophy process next. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, you can spare the bosses if you don't use finishers on them. If you use finishers on them, you kill them, which is that is teased in the way that the enemies you fight throughout the stage lay after you beat them. If you just beat them down without using a finisher, they still like twitch and groan on the floor. If you use a finisher, they're just flat out ragdolled on the floor. They're dead. And it like if you do that on the boss, like most people have probably seen The Botanist at this point, but you like wrap the machete around his neck and you're like, I've waited 8 long years for this, and then it cuts and like clearly you run his head down the sharp end of the machete. But if you do the spare, you like go to do it and you're like, I've waited 8 long years for this, and then you just let him go and he's like, I could have died, and then you get like a little sigil that pops up in like a circle. And it's pretty cool that that's an option, because as somebody who would want to finish it as quickly as possible, I was like, fuck no, I'm not going to spare him. He just aged me 35 years. No. Like, I'm going to take his life for wasting half of mine.
Yeah.
And I think it's a cool little like nod to like, hey, you've been beating this guy's ass like 200 times a day. Maybe just don't do the execution if you don't need to. And it's like, oh, there is a different story element if I do that.
Yeah. So I'm currently going through. I just beat the artists and spared her. So I just have the tower yet, and then Yang. My biggest struggle. So I was trying to do 2 birds, 1 stone, and like, can I do the sparing and the under 50 at like the same time? And it's not going well. So I've sacrificed. I'm gonna go back and do the under 50, but going into the botanist for the first like attempt, one of the biggest struggles I've had is like, you can just like beat the snot out of them until they're at like that last quarter. Then you have to be really sparing.
Then they get hard.
Because then they get hard, and they get harder to fight, as well as like if you go too hard fighting back and just annihilate either their structure and like say they hit the takedown and then you hit them, it'll immediately initiate the takedown even if you didn't do the prompt. So like,
really?
Yeah. So like if you
have to like let them get back up.
Yeah. So like you have to knock them down.
You have to let them be dazed.
Yeah. So
and
once
the other thing is you can't you can't get their health too low.
Yes,
either.
exactly.
If their health drops below 0 and you punch them and that gets rid of their last bit of health, it just immediately goes into the takedown.
Because you take them down to stage 2, they'll be like, oh, I'm dizzy, and then you back up like, all right, cool, and then they wake up with like a quarter health, but it's like a stage 3. They just continue to fight. Then you take them down again to takedown, and when it shows like takedown, and then it's like left on the D-pad is to spare. So you have to do that. If you hit them while they're like that, so like if you're in the middle of a combo, so like bam, bam, on the third hit, you'll kill them, and that second hit prompts the takedown, that third hit will run the cutscene and you beat them. Like,
damn.
So like I did that to the botanist like 8 or 9 times, and you can't just like close, restart right outside the fight. You have to run the level again.
Yeah.
So again, the squats is so easy to do. It's just do it again. I gotta do it again. I'm taking shortcuts now. I'm like, I gotta skip Jade Statue so I can just do this quick. And what I got really pissed because I was like, I did it right this time. The sparing cutscenes I think all start the same. So like if you see it, you think you just killed them.
Yep.
And a part of me wonders, I'm like, how many times did I do this right and not know? But when you go to, like, you do the same thing, you get the knife, I've waited 8 long years, and then you let go, I was like, I fucking killed him again. And then he just drops to the ground, like, and you get, like, the Earth Talisman or whatever the first one you should get. Or actually, his might be, like, the Wind or something. I don't know. It's probably Earth. He's the botanist.
It's probably Earth, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I think Sean's is fire.
Yeah, Sean's is fire. I guess I could assume the artist what was her name,
water.
Dante? You know her name.
Kiriko.
Yeah.
I think hers is water.
Hers is water.
So then the CEO is
Wind.
No, I think the CEO might be like Steel or Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Because
is there a grass type?
It's based off of like the elements for the Chinese.
Yeah. The Avatar, right?
No. Like the significant elements, like each year gets like steel, fire, water. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I definitely have to look it up to know. But yeah, going through the botanist, like the other, going through Sean it took me like 2 tries to get Sean because the one I got carried away with the staff and just knocked his teeth down his throat and killed him too quick.
He's wood.
The botanist is wood?
The botanist is wood.
Okay.
That Earth and wood are 2 separate things.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, beat Sean. Went through, the artist took me like 3 or 4 tries because I kept getting, so her second stage where she like throws the knives, I was trying to get really sparing. Like, I don't want to throw a knife and like kill her from across the map by accident, so I'm going to chill out. But yeah, same
can you snatch them? Can you like?
Yeah, you can snatch them.
Oh,
it's
that's
really
sick.
cool.
You have to buy there's an ability. Watch, assuming that, but yeah, she throws those, you grab them, and then I don't know if there's a tell for her pattern, but either she'll sit back and she'll go like and throw 2 more. So you either have to dodge, but then she does like a sidestep and then dashes at you and like stabs you. So then you have to dodge that and then punch her from the side. Or if you catch a knife and hold on to it as she dashes, you can throw it at her and it'll stun her in the middle. Which is just like, she's so fast. It's like, I just got to know which one she's doing. But as soon as she starts to do like a little like sweep and like, I'm like, all right, ready, Danny? Hold the button. Wham! And throw the knife. It's fun learning the patterns and seeing them. It was almost like when I keep telling people, like, I'm excited for Cuphead DLC because Cuphead has not like kicked my teeth in years. Like Cuphead's muscle memory, I haven't had the trouble, which just sounds for like, Danny hates Dark Souls, Danny doesn't like hard games, but Danny likes Cuphead, he'll love Dark Souls. Like the conversation of what hard games Danny will like is just abysmal.
I think thematics and aesthetics play a lot into that.
Absolutely.
Like it's a lot more fun to play like a goofy, haha, silly, like rubber hose cartoon animated. You know, it's a lot more. It's a lot more upbeat and spirited thing versus like a dark, dreary, dark fantasy. Everything's in armor. Everything's a grotesque demon monster. Which is why I like Bloodborne, and that's a whole different conversation. But I understand why you're less interested in those games compared to these two, which are like bright, colorful, cell-shaded kung fu fight, or rubber hose cartoon, goofy shooter. Yeah.
But yeah, like having a fun game that beats me up, I think is so much more fun than having a dreary game that beats me up. Because I feel like Dark Souls, I say not intentionally, but maybe probably intentionally. Like, you should feel bad that you died. Do better.
Yeah,
versus
a
everything
little
else
bit.
is like, darn it, you try, but hey, you hit retry, right? Or you can start the level over, do your thing. And
It's like Mega Man versus Ninja Gaiden at that point.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed. I say thoroughly enjoy. You probably play like a clip like, why the fuck did he kill me? I'm getting so pissed off. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's two different angers when it comes to like struggling with a boss. And there's like, I'm angry because I'm not beating it. And there's angry because I hate this game. And it was never the angry because I hate this game. It was, damn it, he got me again. But like, I should have been prepared for this time. Like I knew he was going to do this. So why didn't I stop him here? All right, now I know, make sure I pay attention for this. And then there's the extra thing of like, shoot, I didn't pay attention to this, and just getting better at it. And I was telling chat the one, I'm like, I don't want Sifu to be my new Cuphead. I'm like, hey, we beat a game. Who wants to speedrun Sifu? Like,
You can speedrun Sifu in like 40 minutes.
I've seen like 20 minutes.
27. Yeah, I've seen like 27. I've seen some crazy times for Sifu.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know.
Especially when I'm getting my butt kicked over just like a simple parry.
Yeah.
I see this coming. Why didn't like my character react to it? Oh man.
They're just like,
I really wish I want to do the research because like I almost feel because the game doesn't tell you, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's kind of I guess up to your own interpretation. But like the game doesn't tell you everything that can be parried.
Yeah.
And I definitely know that there's things that I didn't think could be parried, but there have been
Like the red
instances where
attacks?
instances where I've blocked and parried a red attack, and I'm like, oh. And actually, there's been instances where I figured those out that have made those fights a lot easier. Like the guy who do like the triple palm strikes. That third one I know can be parried.
Okay.
And I was like, oh wait, if I just block the first two, and then the second one he actually charges up a little bit longer, so I know that has some time to come up. Then I was like, oh, I can block that, and wow, that made that fight like a whole lot easier. I really wish I knew exactly what all can be parried because I know that there's certain. I think there's certain I think weapons cannot be like the staff can't be parried or something like that
because they usually do a lot of structure damage. I think some like the staffs I think you can block, but they definitely they still hurt a lot. I know going into that staff lady.
Blocked the knife too. Like I don't know.
Okay. I always imagine I'm like block the knife. I'm like, oh, there goes my forearm. So I just tend to do the bob and weave a lot.
Yeah.
Like no matter most cases, anything that comes at you, you can just like wah, and then like
you can definitely block the machetes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can dodge most. I think pretty much everything in the game.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that you can block the machetes because the botanist has like a strike where he comes in with like a wide sweep, and I know that when you block that, you just like hit away his arm.
Yeah,
he's just that close. So I wish there was a little bit more tell of what exactly I could parry in the game. Yeah, and that's why I wish the training statue could be manipulated a little bit more.
I was about to ask him because I didn't use the training statue. I think I accidentally opened it once because I wasn't sure what it did.
Yeah.
So
as far as I can
you didn't
tell,
use it too.
It just gives you a basic enemy. And it just allows you to set it to passive or aggressive.
Okay.
But I really wish like as you fought maybe more of the enemies in the game and locked them in there, and you can kind of train with them specifically.
That would be really cool.
Or even
Give a chance to learn.
Even just go to a situation of like, this is the attack I want you to use, or I don't know.
Like pattern practicing.
Yeah, that would be more of like a fighting game thing, which is we've been calling it a fighting game. It's a mixture, like of an action style fighting. I don't know, but like if they were gonna take some fighting elements, making that training statue being able to pop up multiple enemies, or even just instances like I really like the museum because the shortcut in that fight goes directly to the boss.
Yes,
which means I could practice directly with her.
Absolutely, that's what I think made her so good at fighting her.
Yeah, I wish
she's
all
so
the
unique.
fights all the bosses would have had a direct shortcut to them.
Damn, I love that. Just going up the elevator.
Or even just like the trails being highlighted a little bit more. Like high attacks being a certain color, low attacks being a certain color.
That would be cool.
In Metal Gear Rising, right? Rising of Revengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The action game.
The Raiden one.
The Raiden one. There's a character, like a character will glow a certain color. I think it's like bright yellow, and that significance means you can't block that, so you have to dodge it.
Yeah.
I think this game could have benefited from stuff like that, and I really wish it would have been but regardless, like I said, I'm kind of nitpicking the game.
Sure, no, absolutely.
I really love the game. I really do. I want to see it better, and hopefully we see a Sifu too.
Yeah.
C2.
C2.
I'm interested to see what that would look like what narrative we take. Obviously, I assume we get
Yang. He plays Yang, hunting down the main character from the first one.
We kind of did that.
I know.
They said that there's actually going to be some type of post game content too.
Right, I did see that.
Maybe outside of just difficulty levels.
Interesting.
I'm interested to see what that looks like. If it's like we're still our character, we're doing something else. It's in between going to the club, there was this one thing you had to deal with, and or
what wave survival.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know.
Could you imagine having to fight two bosses at once?
Oh Christ.
I don't know if I could do that.
I'm just imagining. I want to see that clip of fighting like Yang and like the CEO at the same time. I'm like dodging him, and then like a chain gets wrapped around my neck and pulls me. I'm like, please stop.
Sean and the CEO would be like the worst. The fighter and the CEO. Like Sean's close action, you're like, all right, he's easy to dodge, and then the whip like hits you in the side of the neck, and you're like, ah.
That's something I want to see. I don't know if I want to suffer through that, but I'd love to see someone else try and deal with that.
Yeah, like somebody doing like a no-hit boss run or something. Yeah. That'd be dope.
That'd be pretty dope.
Dante, I've said since day one this game could benefit hugely from a lock-on.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I get lost sometimes in the combat, and I'm like, I don't even know who I'm locked onto right now. Because sometimes I'll push forward, and it's like Arkham. Wherever you push, you're gonna hit that guy. I always use the instance of the room with the big guy, the dude with the bamboo staff, and the girl right before you get to Fajar, the botanist. Mm-hmm. Whenever I walk into that room and I go to throw my item, because if you hit the big guy, you can instantly execute him mid-conversation. But sometimes holding forward and throwing it, it'll hit the guy, it'll hit the girl. Like, it's all kind of like luck. It's like, well, they're all in front of you, so which one's it going to throw it at?
Right.
And I think a lock-on would help that, because then I could just cycle through till I got the big guy, throw it at him. And I think Absolver had a lock-on, which feels a little bit like a downgrade to like lose that. But I've adapted and gotten better without the lock-on.
Right.
But I do still think it would be beneficial.
Absolutely.
I partially wonder with stuff like that if maybe it was like an artistic choice, because a lot of this game seems pretty artsy.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like maybe they were like, oh, if we put a lock on, it'll break the immersion. Or...
Yeah, like breaks mysticism or whatever. Yeah. It becomes more mechanical.
Because there's not really a HUD in this game, very rarely, except when your structure shows up.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because we were talking about it, whether it was a lock on or not, and I mentioned like I used the club as an example. When you come through, you see Sean for the first time, like walk through a door. Actually, I think I'm mixing moments. You walk in and there's like the bar, and she's like, "Hey, bets are closed, whatever."
Yeah.
In that room, there are two ladies behind the bar. I always attack the one on the left because she has like the higher kicks that'll just like completely interrupt anything you do. So I would initially come at the front and look to the left and like throw the bottle, but every now and again it would hit the girl I wanted to take out myself.
Yep.
So I started like going to the left, hopping over the couch and coming around the left side of the bar, so she's right in front of me, and then just clock her with a wine bottle, finish her, and then go get the other girl because she was much easier to fight. I think I've grown accustomed enough at this point, and that's after putting, I could say, at least 9 hours with stream, and then obviously way more off stream, like getting good at this game. But I don't know. I don't know that I need a lock on, but in terms of someone picking this up, like all my friends are having fun with it, but like no lock on's really making it hard for me to play. Like I could absolutely see that being a benefit. Even if that's something they add on in like that super easy mode that they're talking about, or
Right.
Yeah, I'd be cool with it. Anyone else think anything for Sifu? I think there's not too much to talk about outside of like, the actual combat has kind of been
right.
The full hour. Narrative's all right, but
yeah. This was a super fun game. Regardless of like some of the nitpicky stuff that I have, I think the reason I think the reason that I can nitpick it so much is because it attests to how much I enjoy the game, as opposed to just playing it and be like, okay.
Yeah, if you said it was perfect, it'd be like, is it? Yeah, no, for sure.
This is definitely like we were saying, a strong start to the year in terms of, because I don't feel like I've purchased a lot of games over the last couple of years, but in terms of 2022, this year seems packed. So
yeah,
and this game was, I didn't even realize it was on my radar initially until I saw it being played.
Nothing big I really care to play right now. It's just I kind of have just this swell of nothing in front of me. I just wish I had something new to play. Elden Ring Tuesday.
Yeah, Danny's gonna play Elden Ring. Yeah,
Elden Ring's coming out here soon.
Yeah, Danny's gonna do that, huh?
Yeah, he is, dog. Listen, I said I would stream it for a night if I could like borrow someone's physical copy, but I am not spending $60 on Elden Ring. Listen, I'm excited for y'all who are excited, not for me. But
I guess I'll ask because I'm curious, and I know Kanai, you haven't really gotten through all the game yet, but what's everybody's favorite stage?
Perfect. Dante did it for me.
I'm taking over this PlayLog.
I was gonna say, to wrap it up, it was like favorite boss, favorite stage. What's everyone? So mine is definitely the museum. I think in terms of scenery, favorite boss, give or take, I'd probably say as much of a pain in the ass as he is. I really like Sean. I want someone to go through and like pick a tally how many times we said Sean in this episode. I'm interested.
Instead of the fighter.
Yeah.
or the club. Like
or the club. Just make a list. They said club 75 times. They said Sean 83. They said, I think the level itself, the museum, I think is so pretty. Like when I was grinding through to fight the boss, I felt back because I'm like, man, there's that gorgeous room. There's the interesting 3D effect they do with the art on the walls every time you go down a hallway into a door. All these different exhibits have different aesthetics. Like there's I call them the twins, and there is a specific set of twins in Sifu, like with the artist and her sister. But there's a big buff lady with like a shawl or something going on, along with her like kung fu brother, and they have all those like light bulbs filled with color hanging from the ceiling. I couldn't figure out how to beat him. I'm just like, throw the light bulbs.
By the way, if you just throw the light bulbs, it makes that fight becomes trivial.
Because I'd run it, you just stand next to him, and I would walk too far, and I would throw like 5, and I'm like, oh, they're behind me. So I would turn around to grab them, and I would just start throwing them away. I'm like, no, I'm wasting light bulbs.
But there's so many light bulbs in that room.
Yeah, literally. Like, if you just use the light bulbs, done. It takes like 7 or 8 each of them. It's over. But I think the museum just has, every room feels different than the last one in terms of like artistic, and then there's like stepping over the balcony to walk into like the weird waterfall shape of the artist. I'm like, this is getting trippy, dog. And then that final stretch, I think you were the one asked in chat, like, would you play a full game like this? I'm like, if it wasn't Sifu, like if it was another game that just chose this art style, I would love to play something like this. But yeah, the museum as a whole artistically, I think is like the coolest one in this game.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I really like the music for the club.
Like, absolutely. Yeah.
At least when you first enter into the club and you're just beating everybody up, and then it's like, don't. It really gets you into the feel of like beating a whole crowd up. But I think when it comes down to the actual stage, the museum, it kind of hits on another level because it has instances where like, well, everything's like really artistic, elaborate and whatnot. Yeah. But like one of the highlights for me was that it kind of gives you a hallway situation like the squats does.
Yes.
But like there was a moment where like I had a knife in my hand and I took down a guy, I shoved him up against the wall and like I slit his throat and like the blood splattered, and like behind it on the wall is like it says rage, and I was like, damn, that's kind of deep. that they did that on purpose. Like they knew that this could happen in here, so like they purposely like lined this hall. I think it was beautiful, and the I won't say that she's my favorite boss fight, but I like the fact that she had 2 different phases to a degree. Like she used 2 different people, and I think that played with her character. Yeah. I think honestly, I enjoyed the fight, even though as infuriating as it was. I enjoyed the fight with Yang a lot more, though.
That's
Just,
totally fair.
There's an instance where like he does the one move where like if you hold the triangle and then you give it a pause and then you press triangle again, where he does like all the rapid strikes.
Mm-hmm.
He does that, but you can just dodge all of them. You just
And then punch him in the chest.
and then punch them. Like that felt really good.
Yeah.
And like just the moments leading up to it. And you get kicked out into the square or whatever,
Yeah.
and raining. I was like, wow, this is pretty dope.
Dealing with it whenever he would do like the slide back and then, or no, he would jump back and then slide in for the leg sweep. Like whenever I could dodge that and then just punch him down, I'm like, oh man, I'm the best at this game. No one's better than me. I'm the fucking best.
I will also give a shout out to the camera work in this game, because the camera work is fantastic. With a lot of the takedowns, where a lot of that,
Yes.
You notice it in the hallway where your takedowns don't feel as impressive, but when your camera's actually in on you and it's like moving around and like it really makes you feel
for
strong.
I was gonna say sometimes I was like, well, when I'm fighting and my camera's stuck in the wall, like off to the side, I'm like, oh, but yeah, for the takedown specifically, oh yeah, phenomenal.
Takedowns and cutscenes are very cinematic and pretty.
The actual camera in fights is weird, especially in the tower, like in the catacombs, because like that has a bunch of like little walls that the camera gets stuck on.
Yeah.
But the actual camera work for takedowns, or even like when you take down bosses and the camera cuts to black, and I think it gets the point across of what's happening without actually showing you it.
Dope.
So, Kanai, what do you like?
So from what I've watched, not what I've played, the museum is very pretty. I do enjoy that level the most. If I hadn't seen the museum, I would have said the club, because I love the flashes from like modern day club into like ancient Chinese like training grounds. That's really fucking cool. And it kind of tells the story of Sean without actually showing it, where like everything's on fire and there's like a burning temple at one point, and there's all these like fighters who are using staves, and it's like these were Sean's like people. Like Sean grew up with these guys and like did bow staff training and shit, and like he was just better than them for whatever reason. And I think when you're fighting him, it transitions from like modern day Sean to like monk Sean, where he's like in the robe and he's like stanced up without the staff, and I was like, fuck, that's really cool. Because I've seen that, but when the artist does like the transition to like the painted lady, I'm like, oh, that's dope as hell.
Yeah.
That being said, without being like a whole nother personality, I really, really like Fajar. I think he's a really interesting start to the game, and I think he's very symbolic for your character. Just based on like how composed he is at first, just like hopping over trees, doing kicks, like normal kung fu moves, and then like you start losing and you get frustrated, and he's like, fuck it, weapon, I'm playing like hit and run tactics. And like I think that is very telling for like the player's emotions in the game. And like I feel like it goes unnoticed a lot, just because a lot of people like beat his ass and then get stuck on like Sean's level for whatever, like however long. But I do think Fajar symbolically is a really, really cool boss, and I think he has the most difference in the two stages. Because like I said, one, he's like up in your face, like nonstop. He is just like punch, 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 punch. Oh, you're running, jump off, like come after you. And then like you hit him a couple times and he's like, nope. And then he'll just like duck out into the bamboo, and then he'll do that strike, which will lead into a bunch more. But the minute you interrupt him, he's like, nope, bamboo. So like I love how drastically different his stages are. I love how drastically different his appearance is. Like I said, this like symbolism. So like, granted, he's the only boss I've fought in the game so far, but like Fajar, from what I've seen, looks the most interesting to me over the entire course of his fight.
Yeah.
And like I said, without being a whole nother personality or person like Kiriko, I think that it's really cool what they do with Fajar. Because even leading up to it, they're like, he's fucking crazy. Why are you here? Like, Fajar's lost his mind. Whatever you're here to find, he's not going to have it. And I think that conversation that I heard after it, I was like, oh, these guys don't even really like Fajar. They're just kind of scared of him. So, like, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, museum artistically is just a great stage.
Yeah. Fajar, honestly, what threw me out, 'cause I think we were talking about the one night, I was imagining there were 5 like lackeys and then Yang.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the intro cutscene where you like a cutscene, like when you start the game, you play as Yang going after Sifu, and then you kill Sifu, which then initiates your character's revenge story and going through the actual game. and you see Sean, like Sean throws the guys through the door, and then you go up again and you have another lackey, which is Fajar, like chilling on like a stone bench after like killing like 5 dudes. And I'm like, okay, so that's another dude. And then when we see Fajar with the full, untamed beard and everything, I'm like, okay, that's another guy. There's still the dude on the bench. And I'm like, we're missing a guy. I'm like, oh no, that is Fajar. Okay, interesting. Like I didn't, for some reason it didn't click. I just expected to see clean shaven dude be like, yes, I fight for Yang. Let's go. And his drastic change from, I guess, dark, shadowy, clean guy to I make plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
I'm starting to think that Sifu's a title and not like a name.
Yeah.
So
Sifu,
a lot of people...
is what you would call your
Sifu
sensei.
Yeah, what I gathered, it's sensei or grandmaster.
I learned that from the Proud family.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's an episode like the typical, we saw a karate movie, I'm going to go take karate classes. And then they're like, this is our Sifu. I'm like, bet. Got it.
Because at one point I was like reading a review and they're like, like on your way to fight Yang, you're Sifu. And I was like, Yang's not, what? They like confused the hell out of me. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's like a title for the person with the talisman. And then I was like, no. Yeah,
I'm not sure. Typically, Sifu is the person who teaches you. And they kind of like, Yang has his little monologue there where he kind of talks about like, I did like, you guys play, or Dante, you played female? Or you played?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if
I am currently playing male.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued. So at the end when the cutscene comes in, Yang has a dialogue line where he's like, I've seen you grow and train, little sister. And I couldn't tell if that was like, hey, we grew up in the same dojo banter, like you're my little sister, or like if Yang is actually like your big brother. I don't, that wasn't specifically harped upon. I thought it might just been like a playful term of endearment, but also it could be like, no, you're my blood sister and I have to kill you now because you wouldn't like, I killed dad and now you're
I think that kind of goes along with a lot of the stories just not really elaborated on, and maybe to its own benefit, because you can kind of come up with these conclusions. I was under the impression that like Yang may have been adopted or something.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Where he's like, I considered us family. But he kept going. You could either take it a couple different ways, because he kept saying your father, but then called you sister,
right?
Or I'm assuming brother in the male end.
Yeah, you could do the whole thing of like, it's not my dad.
Yeah, but if I was under the assumption that because he's like, he didn't like Sifu, that he was like, he disowned me, so I disowned him as a father, sort of situation.
For sure.
So.
Guess it's up to interpretation.
And I mean, Sifu's pretty old to be having like a 10-year-old child.
Bruh.
Judo.
I don't know.
Speaking of how old Sifu is,
those things happen in life, but
yeah. Speaking of how old Sifu is, he was fucking up the artist and the CEO like on his own. He was like kicking the chain into the floor and like knocking away Yuriko. He was going hard. And there was a point where it was before Danny got to either of them. I was like, I just had this like thought the other day, Danny, and he's like, okay. I was like, you watched the first 2 bosses fight like lackeys of Sifu. And he's like, yeah. I was like, you watched 2 of them like keep up with him. That's terrifying. and he's like, yeah, I guess it is, huh? And then like, it's funny hearing Danny talk about him. He's like, nah, once you get their patterns, they're fucking easy. Like, knock the chain away and beat the shit out of her. And I was like, oh damn, these people were like fighting the Grandmaster who like Yang had to take down.
Nah, Sifu was a bitch. That's it.
I do like the like knuckle punch, because Yang does it on you too. Like it's like a consistent thing, or I guess vice versa. You do it on Yang, right? So you do like the like
Yang does it. Oh yes, yeah, okay. You don't mean like the final like the killing blow cutscene. You mean the actual? Yeah,
like So when he kills Sifu, he does the like hit, and then like knuckle into like the solar plexus.
Yeah,
and then you do like the same thing. Yeah. You're like bam. Which I don't. Have you guys seen the initiation for stage 3 on the spare?
Yes, I have.
Okay, yeah. So you go to do it, and like it zooms out, and you like stop just shy, and then Yang is like, nah, fuck that, and just like starts fucking you up. And that's when it starts stage 3, which I was like, oh, that's cool. Have you guys seen the ending cutscene?
I have not yet.
Okay, then I
I
won't.
stayed away from the ending cutscene.
Yeah, I say at this
I won't
point,
say anything about
since
it
I
then.
just have the tower yet, I'm like, I might as well just go all in.
It is very artsy. I will say that.
Ooh,
If you
that's
were expecting
exciting.
like a strict yes or no answer on what the story is, you will not get it. It is very, very artsy.
Sweet. I'm cool with that. Well, that's Sifu. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of PlayLog. I want to thank Kanai and Dante for joining me for this episode. It was great having you guys around.
Severe lack of Dave.
Yeah, poor Dave. It's just a joke that no one will get, but can I? But yes, absolutely, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of PlayLog. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Real quick, Kanai, if the people on the internet wanted to find you, where would they go?
Twitch.tv/Dwarven_Lion. I know that's a mouthful. But you'll most likely find me there. I want to get better about posting other social media, so if you guys want, there's my Twitter, Dwarven Lion. I'm pretty sure it's still an underscore. Same thing with Instagram. I've been trying to be better about posting on there when I go live. But yeah, come hang out. I play a random assortment of games. I'm sure by this time I'm still trying to beat Minecraft, which is a whole thing. I used to not like the game, and now I like want to try and beat it and like feel accomplished. And it's a fun journey. It's fun like being like, man, I started from this shitty cramped house with like a stupid ladder cave below it, and now I have a mansion filled with the bodies of my enemies. Like it is a fun like progressive thing that I'm learning. But yeah, that's where you'd find me.
You doing that makes you. I need to go back. I'm so close to platinuming Minecraft on PS4. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I basically have to like beat the Ender Dragon and say like unzombie a villager and stuff. To a degree, it's weird with Java, and I don't know which ones are and aren't. We'd have to do some search, but and then also Dante, thank you for joining us. If the internet wanted to find you, where would they go?
If the internet wants to find me, you can find me on God, I'm bad at this. I completely blanked for a moment. At Shuriblur on Twitter. I sometimes post things, but mostly I retweet a whole bunch of art that I really enjoy. And then, like, if I get to know you, I'll probably share something that you like really like artistically. Like, just go to Danny's Discord and his share, and you'll find a whole bunch of buy lists that I found.
All this buy list right here. God, what a queen.
Other than that, you can find me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/Shuriblur. I have not streamed in quite some time, but I'm looking at trying to at least stream once a week and try to get something consistent going. But I mean, you may go there and just see a ghost town too, so you'll be like, oh man, where's the Shuriblur guy? And then you'll go back to this video and be like, oh, there he was.
Listen, he's raising a baby. Give him some slack, okay?
Yes.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, if you're interested in Sifu and you're going to grab it on the Epic Game Store, don't forget to use code CGDannyB at checkout. Doesn't cost you anything extra and helps support your boy. That means Epic is giving me money. Do it for a boy, all right? Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.